Hi, it's Joe here from Joe's Country Junction, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about my cross stitching. I have been busy. I haven't done a floss tube, I think since about the first or second week in December, so a lot of time has passed. That doesn't necessarily mean I've got a lot of stitching done because I get sidetracked a lot with quilting. For those of you who don't know, I am a quilter first and a cross stitcher second. I very much enjoy quilting. I very much enjoy cross stitching, so I try to balance the two of them out. I am going to take a second here to show you my dog Rosie, because Rosie is bugging me and she is trying to get some attention from me. So I thought I'd just bring her up here, give her a little bit of attention, and hopefully she'll happily go away. But this is Rosie. We're a beagle family, and she is all beagle. So here you go, Rosie. Jump down and go play. Come on. There you go. So if you notice from my shirt, it says Midwesty. We are a Midwestern family. We are a farm family. I grew up in southern Minnesota. We moved to North Iowa, and we've been here for, I don't know, close to 30 years. So we're very happy with this and happy living here. So, but we're very familiar with farming. Farming is very important to us. So, what have I been busy doing for the last 8 weeks or 6 weeks since I've talked to you? I have been busy cross stitching and quilting, as I said. We've been doing a lot of quilts lately. I did a UFO challenge, and I've been doing lots and lots of finishing up of old projects of quilting. And so being I had so many quilting projects that were UFOs, I have been pretty careful not to get too many cross stitch projects that are UFOs, because I know the guilt that you can have from having too many projects hang over your head. Well, at least it's guilt for me. I know some people it doesn't bother them at all, but I do end up feeling a little bit guilty over it all if I have too many. So, for those of you that don't know, I blog at joescountryjunction.com, and I blog a lot about quilting. I blog a little bit about cross stitch. I blog a lot about our family. And if you're on YouTube, you can see a couple floss tubes here and there, but I have a lot of how-to sewing videos, and I have a lot of what I call Sew with Joes. It's just basically I sew and chat and tell you what I'm doing while I sew, and it's just kind of fun to have somebody to sew with. So I'm your girl if you need one. You can look for Sew with Joes at joescountryjunction.com or at Joe's Country Junction on YouTube, or my blog joescountryjunction.com. So family news? My daughter's family ended up having COVID over January. I have 3 daughters, so our youngest daughter is the one that ended up with, her family ended up with COVID. They're the ones that live closest to me here in town. And that was kind of interesting. They actually did quite well with it, and I'm very glad that they did. Mostly just end up with mild symptoms. Let me think. What else of family news? My daughter that's expecting twins, she's my oldest, she's doing pretty good. She's not due until May, but she's already very big. I suspect that at some point she's going to end up on bed rest just because she is so big, but we'll see. I don't really know. My son who lives with me, he used to live in Texas, and he was a teacher in Texas, and then my husband got sick and died from cancer in 2019. And Carl came home then, and he decided to live with me. I was fine with it, totally fine with it. I love having him here. But he ended up coming home and decided to get a job closer to home, just because, I don't know. I think once you are that far away and some tragedy happens in your family and you realize it's harder to just drop and go than you thought it was, that you kind of make a different decision. So he just bought a house that's 4 houses down from mine. We can't see each other because it's like down the block and around the corner. So I can't see his house from my house, which is good, but I'm really glad to have him close. We tease and joke that this summer he can borrow my lawnmower and he doesn't have to buy his own lawnmower as long as he'll mow my lawn. So I'm excited about that. I don't have to be mowing lawn. So what have I been busy with? Remember I said I've been doing UFO projects. So I had this. This is a Threads That Bind pattern, and it's called A Gentle Life, and it has the verse from Proverbs on it. The she seeketh will and work willingly with her hands, that verse. I have had this for a long time. I bought it years and years ago at Country Threads in Garner. If you're a quilter, you're probably familiar with Country Threads, but I just never got it done, never got it done. And so I finally got it done. It's really, really long. And I keep it here in my sewing room. It originally was supposed to have a piece of wool along the bottom that was green for the sheep to stand on, but I went to put it on and it just wasn't doing anything for me. So I just decided I wasn't going to go through the hassle of putting it down, being I really didn't like it very well. This is a wool applique, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. It's kind of funny. When I first did this, the cloth that I used for the background was very, very off-white. And so I was having the worst trouble when I first started doing it to try to figure out what to do with these sheep. And then I finally decided, you just need to dye this darker. I just, think about your cross stitch experience. You need to dye your fabric darker so that the white is going to pop. And so that's what I did. I actually dyed it one time and I didn't think it was quite dark enough. So then I dyed it I did a double dip. And I just used a coffee tea dye. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. And I'm so pleased that I had it done. When I originally bought the pattern, they had the frame sitting there right with it. And I thought, that is such a big piece and it's an awkward size that I'm never going to find the pattern for it, or the frame for it, excuse me. And so I decided I was going to buy the frame then and there. And I did. And I'm so glad I did, because now that I got it done, I could just pop it right into the frame. And that's that one. Put that over there. So doing the wool applique on that took up quite a bit of my cross stitch time. And I did two other pin cushions too that were wool applique that I forgot to bring up here, but they took up my cross stitch time too. So during the day, I am a in-home childcare provider, and on the weekend, I'm pretty much a quilter, and in the evenings, I'm pretty much a cross stitcher. It balances out pretty good that way. I'm somebody who gets up early in the morning. I know a lot of people that in the cross stitch world have a morning stitch. Well, I have a morning sew because I always have deadline projects. Right now, if you look at American Patchwork and Quilting and you page through the current issue that's on the newsstand, well, the next one that's going to be on the newsstand, it comes out February 8th. We have a quilt in that magazine. And I just sent in a quilt for the Halloween magazine edition. I'm working on a Christmas quilt right now for American Patchwork and Quilting. And then I just got a design submitted and accepted for a spring edition of American Patchwork and Quilting. So that's all very exciting, but that means I have to be quilting. And I do enjoy, as I said, I enjoy that very, very much. But it's something that takes me away from cross stitch, which I really, really love too. So a lot of people were doing New Year's new starts, and I jumped right on the bandwagon. I'm not somebody, as I said before, that wants to have a ton of UFOs. I have been to date, until this last few weeks, been a monogamous stitcher. Maybe not quite monogamous, but only two max projects ever at one time. So, I was one of the many, many people, just like so many others of you, that was inspired by Olivia at Pumpkin Hollow Quilts to do the Anniversaries of the Heart. And so I was a good girl, and I have the first block done. That's right here. That would be the January block. I am hoping what Olivia said is true. She had said that is the block that really is the block that is going to test your patience as far as trying to figure out the colors. I had just a miserable time with the colors. I think I went back and forth. I put in a few stitches of one color. I took out a few stitches of another color. I finally just ended up taking some DMC and filling in where I could, and picked a roof color and tried to find something else that matched it pretty good. And so I'm pleased with it. This is my son Carl's block. And so you can see across the top, it says Kramer. That's our last name. And I put Carl's oh, this is hard to do. I put Carl's name right here. And then being he just bought a house, I'm going to fold this in over like this. Being he just bought a house, I ended up putting his house number right here, right above where the key is. I thought that that was kind of cool. I kind of plotted it out. As you know, there's 12 blocks, and I figured it out that I have 5 kids. Let me think. 4 of them are married or in relationships or have kids, and Carl's the only one that doesn't. And so I picked a block that I could not have to manipulate too much for Carl. And so so I'm giving each one of my kids' family a block. I decided that. Then my husband and I would have a block. And then my parents would have a block. His parents would have a block. And then his grandparents, so that's 2. And my grandparents, that's 2, would have a block. And that's what's going to take up my Anniversaries of the Heart. And then, because that equals 12, it worked out splendidly that equals 12. And so I know what I don't know who's going where, but I know who will be included in the blocks. And that was just a good thing to know. And so I started working on the February block. You can just see a small little start on that. I just worked on that one night and got that much done. Again, I'm not excited about the colors. I don't know. I start using a color and it's like my color doesn't look like that because, let me see, on the outer, okay, on this outer border, it says to use Old Hickory on this little border here. And if you look at that, to me, that looks like a brownie green almost, kind of like a darker tan kind of color. But when I look at it on mine, it looks like a tan gold. And so that's frequently been happening. And that's the same color I was supposed to use for the vine on the flower here. And I just decided, no, I wanted mine to be green. So I just grabbed a green and stitched it in. And that's what I decided I'm going to do with this project. No particular piece or motif in the whole piece uses very much thread, so there's no point in like freaking myself out because whatever thread I use is just going to work fine. I know it, and I just have to act a little bit more confident about it. So that is my Anniversaries of the Heart. I am trying to do one block every month. Once I think it'd be April comes, probably March into April, I'm going to try to get that top bonus block with the alphabet on it done as well, like during March. So I might kind of work just a little bit ahead to make sure that I stay with it and am still able to do the April block on time, because I know me, if I get behind, I probably won't pick up again. So I did tell myself when I originally started that I don't have to have it done this year, but I don't know who I'm kidding. I really do want to get it done this year. And I'm enjoying it very, very much. And I think it's going to be a marvelous piece when I'm done. I'm just super excited about it. I think my kids are sick of me talking about it because I keep going, hey, I think I'm going to put your block in March, and I think I'm going to put your name here, and I think I'm going to put your wedding date here, and I think I'm going to put your kids here. And my kids are like, oh, really, Mom? They're great. They're encouraging and everything else. But at the same token, I think I've been just a little too excited about it. But I think some of you can relate when you talk with your kids about your hobbies. I had a doctor's appointment, and I know that was a big change, wasn't it? I had a doctor's appointment, and when I went to my doctor's appointment, I wanted to grab something small to take with, and it's just kind of cumbersome if you're working on a big sampler and you're trying to manipulate that big piece of fabric when you're sitting in the doctor's office. So I just wanted something little. And last time I talked to you, I told you that I wanted to stitch this, the Let's Stay Home and Stitch. Super excited about stitching that. The moment I saw that, I really wanted to get that. And I bought it off Stash Unload, and it was really weird. I ordered it like in June, and it didn't come and didn't come and didn't come. And I looked up at the delivery and it said it was delivered to my house outside my door. And I looked everywhere. It was not there. So I just went, okay, chalk this one up to the mail. You know, it's going to show up sometime. But like weeks went by and it didn't show up and didn't show up. And when it finally did show up, the package had gone to the IRS and the IRS didn't read the outside of the envelope. They just opened it up and took it out and realized that this had nothing to do with the IRS and nothing to do with taxes. So they put a note in there and then they resent it to me and I ended up getting it at the end of September. So I ordered it at the beginning of June, got it at the end of September because it went via the IRS, which that really made me laugh. So anyway, that's my pattern that I took with to the doctor to work. And last time I told you, I even showed you that I had started this dress right here and I was using the called for color in here and it was very, very light and I like this darker blue. So I went and dug out some floss. I think I picked maybe 930 DMC, 932. I don't know what it is. And I just started and I got that much stitched in the doctor's office. It's not much, but it's a start. And I'm just thrilled. I was watching somebody's Flosstube and they said 10 stitches is a start. And well, I probably got 40 in there. So it doesn't look like much, but I bet there's 40 in there. So I got that started and this is going to be my doctor's office type of project because it's small. And I really like when I have a longer project like this, I really like to stitch in an oval hoop. And I am a hoop stitcher, and I kind of laugh when people say that they want to do the sewing method, so they think that you have to stitch in hand only. And I'll be honest, when I stitch, I leave a hoop, but look I don't keep this taut at all. And so I keep it in a hoop. I'm still able to use the sewing method, and it still keeps my fabric flat for me. And a lot of people complain about getting hand cramps. My hand doesn't get a cramp when I'm holding the hoop, but I still can easily do the sewing method because this is not taut at all. I mean, you can see it easily moves. And so I suggest to you, if you're having trouble with the stitching in hand, to try a hoop, only don't make it tight and you can still do the sewing method. That's what I do and my daughter does that as well. So it's kind of a compromise cross in between that you can still do the sewing method and you can still use a hoop. And so that's one of the things that I do with that I really enjoy doing. So my big project that I've really been working on that is taking me a lot longer than I ever expected. I am working on Teresa Kogut's Heaven and Nature. See that giant house? Yep. That is a giant house and it's kind of glaring. I'm sorry, but I'm sure most of you have already seen this. I just love this. I started this a while back and I'm still just slowly chugging along. I think last one I showed you, I had this portion done. And since then I've finished this portion. I've got the border down along the side. And now I started in on the bottom down there on the deer section right there. This is almost a page. And so I have to fill in the bottom part here of the border, and then that would classify as a page or real close to it. So I'm really excited about this. I'm moving over now and going to start the 2 Christmas trees that are there. This is, once I get this puppy done, I am not going to pack her away for Christmas. It says Heaven and Nature, and I am just, Heaven and Nature can sing 365 days a year. We don't have to just sing for Christmas. So I decided to go and move down and start on the bottom because the center section is that big house, and being I do stitch with a hoop, I thought it would be hard to have that house in the hoop. So I decided that if I could do the top and then do the bottom, and then I'll go to the middle and do the house. I do want to note on the pattern, or on the chart, if you go along here, there is a leaf, one leaf all the time on along the side here. And in the pattern, there's 2 sections up here that the leaf wasn't in there, but the leaf is there every other time. I'm just guessing that when it was designed that was just an oversight. But then when the model stitcher stitched it, they didn't put those leaves in there, but I really think they were intended to be there. So I am going to go back and put those leaves in there after I figured out that that's what was different about it. I'm just super excited about this. I'm very, very happy that I'm this far along. I'm hoping I can get further along because it is, oh, I don't know. Teresa Kogut does just a wonderful job with colors. I like all of these a lot. The only color I've changed so far is the body of the angel. It's even still kind of hard to see, but not too bad. And I just went into the DMC and picked a DMC that would work for that. And I'm stitching this on 40 count vintage country mocha. And oh, I left that part out. I am stitching my anniversaries. That's also on 40 count vintage country mocha. I think nowadays we all just stitch what we have, and because it's so hard to find linen. It's just hard to find linen. So like I said, I'm just stitching on what is easily able to be found, and right now that's been a lot of vintage country mocha. But the good thing is I really like it, so it's okay to be for me to be stitching on it. But once in a while, if a pattern calls for something different, I just go, oh, I wish I could find that, but it's just hard lately, and that's okay. I'm just very, very thankful to be stitching. Well, I told you that I am not somebody who wants to have a ton of whips. But I was listening to someone on Flosstube, and I totally apologize. I cannot remember who said it. But somebody said, what is the difference if you have something kitted up versus having a couple stitches in it? There's really not much difference, is there? And so I have kind of went through the charts and the kits and stuff that I have at my house, and I was trying to figure out, what do you really want on your wall by this time next year? What would you really love, love, love to have stitched? And my answer was Anniversaries of the Heart. And my other one is I do want to have my Heaven and Nature done. And the other thing that I really wanted to have done was Barbara Anna's Creatures Great and Small. All Creatures Great and Small. So I was taking the advice of the floss tuber that said, what's the difference if you put in a few stitches? And being that this is on my, I don't want to say immediate radar because I'm not stitching on it a ton, but being it's really close on my radar and it's something that I want to do yet this year, what difference would it make if I started it right now? So, oh, and something else I have to tell you, most people just love, love, love starting projects. I hate starting projects. What is it about that? I just hate it because it's always harder to start a project because, you know, after you've stitched for quite a while and you've got points to stitch from when you're at this point, you have places to count off from. You don't have to worry if you started in too far or not. I just hate the stress of starting something new. So for me, it's not fun to start something new. It's fun for me to stitch on something old because you know how when you're cross stitch too, you put in a few stitches and it's easier just to catch the next stitches because it's already kind of, the grid is already kind of mapped out because your first stitches kind of mapped it for you. That's exactly how I am. I love stitching on something that I've been stitching on for a long time because it's already kind of mapped. You know, my needle knows where it's going to go because of the previous stitch that I just stitched. And so I love that. And I am not somebody who likes to start new projects, but I am I love British TV. I like PBS shows. And so if you don't know, every Sunday night, PBS comes out with a new episode of the show All Creatures Great and Small. So I decided, why not? So Sunday night when I watch Creatures Great and Small, I decided last week that I was going to start stitching just long enough during that show. Didn't need to stitch any longer than that, just however far I got in the show. And so I made a teeny tiny start of All Creatures Great and Small. And I'm really excited. I know it's really silly, but look at me. I've got 4 projects going. I never imagined I would be that girl because seriously, I was very, very much a monogamous stitcher, and that's just fine. Everybody can be whatever they want to be, and just stitch whatever makes you happy and do it however makes you happy. But for me, I am stitching All Creatures Great and Small on Sunday night when I watch the show. So hopefully after I'm done with Heaven and Nature, All Creatures Great and Small, I'll move up on the list and I'll get working on that one a little bit more. I gotta admit though, some things have been really, really tempting. I did have some haul, but I want to tell you in advance that I haven't had a floss tube for 6 weeks. So this is all I've bought for 6 weeks worth of time, or seven weeks worth of time. And everything that everything's here. I don't have anything like sneaking away, waiting to come UPS or mailbox or anything like that. Everything that I've ordered is here. So I was looking for some floss when I was obsessing about Anniversaries of the Heart. You know, for a while I thought I had to have all those flosses, and so I had bought a few floss. And as long as I was paying the shipping charge, might as well throw a couple of other things in there. So I ended up throwing in the All Joys for Thine, Blackbird. I've seen Nicole's Needleworks. I've seen Brenda the Serial Starter. I've seen Brenda's. I've seen Connie Tennessee from Country Threads. Oh gosh. And so I just really liked it. And being I was ordering something anyway, you know how it goes. So I ordered that. Well, then my daughter's birthday came along and she is stitching Pandemic. And so she bought like 10 skeins of floss, and I was trying to think of something to get her for her birthday, and I know she's going to need way more than 10. She's made nice progress on it. It looks really, really pretty, but she needs some more floss. So I put in an order to get some Weeks Dye Works Merlot, because that's what she is stitching hers with. And so, being I was... This sounds like a repetitive pattern, doesn't it? Being I was ordering anyway, and I had to get that floss for her, I ended up getting the floss that All Joys for Thine calls for. So this is my floss. They've not been prettied up or anything, and so I'm excited to be starting that eventually, but I know I want to stitch that. I've liked that from the moment when I first saw it. Speaking of the moment I first saw it, I was really excited when I saw that Heartstring Samplery came out with what are they called? Sunday Stitches, and this is Amazing Grace. I just really, really like this. And it says, "'Twas grace that brought me safe this far, and grace will lead me home." And so it's of course one of my favorite church hymns. And so when Beth Twist had a floss tube and said that she was going to start this series, I immediately looked online to see who was going to be offering it, because she said that only a select few shops were going to be getting it. And so I found out that Stitchery Nook and Osage was going to have it, and that's the closest needlework shop to me. So I messaged them, I think over the weekend even, because I have her personal messenger. And so I said, "Are you going to have that?" And she goes, "I don't know anything about it." So I said, "Well, can you find out something about it and put me on the list, because I definitely want one of those." So she messaged me back and she said she'd look into it, and she did. And so the Stitchery Nook and Osage will have these patterns if you're looking for them. And so Sherry contacted me when the patterns came in, and she said, "I'm mailing this to you. Is there anything else you need?" Oh, isn't she sweet? And so I said, well, she said it needed Picture This plus Oaken is what that was called for. And I decided that I was going to just probably not use that. I was just going to probably use whatever I have. And I really actually do think I do have some Oaken, so I might dig that out. It calls for 32 count, but I'm going to stitch mine on 40. And it's not very big. It's 149 by 70. So I don't think it'll take that much time. And words usually don't take super long. So I'm pretty excited about starting that at some point too. I don't know when. I just really know that I want to do it. I might sneak it in between projects and do that because I really, really do like this. And I, like so many of you, want a sampler wall. Who doesn't want a sampler wall? And I know where I'm going to put it. It's going to go in my dining room, and I want things that are different size, just like so many of you do too. So I thought this would be a nice thing that is a different size. So I was pretty excited about that. And so I've got the pattern. I know I've got some linen here, and I've got the floss. So I'm ready to go. Well, you know, being that was coming... Does this sound like a little trend? And I've been having so much fun with Anniversaries of the Heart. And before I decided whether I was going to do Anniversaries of the Heart, I was looking at and was thinking about doing the Garden Club series that Blackbird Design has too. So I decided that might as well just start collecting those patterns too. So I decided that every time I order somewhere, and if they have one of the Garden Club series patterns, I'm just going to order it. And then I'll have them by the end of the year, and maybe this will be my stitch for next year. I don't know. I kind of wouldn't mind doing another one because I really have enjoyed, and I know I'm only on month 1, starting on month 2, but I really, so far, I've really enjoyed Anniversaries of the Heart. I don't know if this will be quite as fun because it's not personalized, but you know, maybe I could personalize it. So we'll see. I'll think about that. And I really do just love the Garden Club series too. So one by one, I'm going to collect these. I'm just going to be so excited when I have them all and I can sit and page through them. And I think when that came, I looked up what All Joys for Thine needed, and I think it needed Heartland. And so I was able to find some on 123 Stitch. And so I ordered linen for All Joys for Thine. So that's actually pretty much kitted now. So it's just a slippery slope, isn't it? And then in one of the orders, I got myself some ballpoint needles or ball tip needles because I am a huge fan of the ball tip needles. Sullivan's ball tip needles. These are way, way, way my favorite needles. I had a very, very kind blog reader just wait, I got one more thing that I bought. Yep. I hear everybody always talking about Lakeside linen. I always hear people talking about Lakeside linen. And so I wanted to check it out because I've never stitched anything on Lakeside linen. Well, I take that back. I stitched a tiny little thing I showed you last time when I did my last Flosstube. And I did like that linen, but I've never stitched a sampler or anything big on it. And so I wanted to try it out. And I heard somebody on Flosstube say, you know, put your name on a list. And so I contacted the attic and asked what they had. And they said that they had vintage maple sugar. And so I got a vintage maple sugar of Lakeside linen, and then I asked if I could be put on their list to be notified when they get other Lakeside linen in. Because everybody talks about vintage pecan butter, everybody talks about vintage meadow rue, and so I thought I'm turning into a sampler girl, so I really thought that I'd just really like to check it out and see and give it a try. I'm going to have to be patient though, because there's really none to be found. At least I haven't found it yet. So if you know where some is, let me know, because I'd really love to give one of them a try. I did have a very, very kind blog reader send me a pattern. It was Linda, and this is Little House Needleworks, and it is called, it just says, a necessity sampler, and it's kind of related to quilting. So I'm pretty excited about that. And she also sent linen to go with it, which that was just super, super sweet. And she gifted it to me because she said that the linen is just too hard for her to see anymore. Oh, I just so hope I don't get to that point in life. It kind of is one of my worries. And I am diabetic, so eyes are something that kind of goes for people who have diabetes. So I'm hoping that my eyes kind of stick out and hang out with me because I really do enjoy cross stitch. One more thing before I wrap things up today, I want to tell you a little bit about my glasses. I went on Zenny and I ordered a pair of glasses. And everybody is always asking what people use for magnification. And the reason I'm sharing this with you today is because this is what I use for magnification. So I went on Zenny and I ordered these glasses. And in the top part up here is my regular distance seeing for glasses. And so I wear these a lot of times when I'm sitting on the couch and I'm cross stitching. And on the top is my regular prescription, and you can see, I hope you can see, I have a bifocal in the bottom. And so Zenny allows you to put in whatever you want for a bifocal on the bottom. And so I put 3.5s in, and I know that that's pretty strong, but you can put in whatever you want. For me, that's what I put in. So I can look down and cross stitch, and I can use the bottom bifocal in the bottom, and I can look up and watch TV, and I'm seeing it with my regular distance lenses. And so I really, really have appreciated these glasses, and everybody talks about what they think you should get for magnification, and, you know, what does everybody use for magnification? And this is what I use. And if you get a pair of glasses from Zenny, all you need is your regular prescription from your eye doctor. And if you don't have that, you can call and get that after, if you've had a eye exam within a year or whatever, 2 years or a year. And so you can put that prescription in the top, and then you can put what you want in the bottom in the bifocal. And I got a lined bifocal because I didn't want a progressive, because it's such a, I don't think that they could do that progression between what my distance is and that strong of a reader. And then with the line there, I can see that line, and I know to, you know, move my eyes up or move my eyes down according to where I need my vision to be if I'm cross stitching or if I'm watching television. And another thing, these glasses, I just got a cheap frame, a very, very cheap frame, like a frame that was like $5.99. And so altogether, I think my glasses were like $22 or something like that. Not very expensive at all. It's a good option, and it's definitely a good option for me. In fact, I've been toying with the idea of ordering another pair so that I can keep one in each bag that I have a cross stitch project in. But I don't think I'm going to do that because I'm kind of frugal, and, you know, I'd rather buy a piece of linen. So I think that's about all I have to share with you. I hope you take some time and come over to my blog, joescountryjunction.com. I'm a very prolific blog writer. I write one blog post in the morning and one blog post in the evening, and I always have something to share. Sometimes it's a goofy story about my grandkids, and sometimes it's about a quilt project I'm doing. Tonight's blog post, as I'm talking here and filming this Flosstube, tonight's blog post is about a vintage quilt that I have that a friend gave to me to, well, she asked me if I'd quilt it for her, and the quilt is wobbly and has it will not lie flat, and I have a long arm quilting machine, so I need to somehow figure out how to manage that on my long arm. But I took lots of pictures of it, and I asked for lots of advice from my blog readers, and so sometimes it's not, I definitely don't have all the answers in the world, because for instance, in that post, I'm asking questions and posing it to blog readers, and I have a lot of blog readers that are long armers as well. And so they've been giving advice on that, and I really appreciate that. I have a really good relationship with my blog readers, and I really trust their advice. And it's really, I'm so fortunate to have such a good group of blog readers. But anyway, I will blog about all this stuff if you need some more information on it on my blog. And so I think that's all I know for now. And hopefully my daughter will edit this video for me tomorrow. She is on call and doesn't have to go into work tonight. She's a nurse, and she said, film a video tonight, Mom, and if you do, I'll edit it for you tomorrow and load it. So you'll probably see this tomorrow on Wednesday, and I am excited to see you then when you see it. So thanks so much for watching, and feel free to hit the like or the subscription or subscribe button, because hey, we all like to be liked, and we all like lots of subscribers. So I'll catch you another time, maybe in a month or so. We'll see, and hopefully I'll have my next block of Anniversaries of the Heart done, and hopefully I will have maybe, dare I hope, the bottom of Heaven and Nature done. Oh, I would really love to have that done. So check back and see you then. Thanks so much. Bye.